Hi everyone, I'm Jacy from Craft Life, and I'm here today to teach you how to make a Rainbow Loom mini 3D cupcake. If you would like to make a larger version of this cupcake, I have a video for it, and I'll put a link in the description box below if you would like to check it out. And the supplies you'll need to make this cupcake are 1 Rainbow Loom, a Rainbow Loom hook or a crochet hook, and rubber bands. Today I'm using red for the cherry, but you do not need a cherry. It's completely optional. I'm also using pink and brown. You will also need scissors. And finally, you will need something to stuff your cupcake with. Today I'm using polyfill, but I heard that cotton balls work great too. And you can use whatever you would like to stuff yours. So please get your supplies and we'll begin. To begin, I just wanted to say that this is my cupcake design and it took me a very long time to come up with. And I'm going to give a shout out to Crafty Ladybug because I like the way she did her bottom, the technique on the bottom. So today I'm going to be using her technique because I wanted my cupcake to stand. So to begin, we need to set up our loom. So we're going to start by taking our middle row out. Then we're going to take this row and we're going to turn it around so that the arrows point to the left. And you're going to push this down. Then we're going to take out our big blue piece and then push it down again. So for this project, we are going to be using 8 pegs on our loom. So from this side, we are going to be using the 3rd peg. And for me, I'm just going to mark mine. So I'm going to put a rubber band from here to here on my 3rd peg. Then on this side, I'm going to go to my 4th peg and place a marker. And now in the center, we are going to use these 4 pegs. And if you would like, you can mark those too, but I'm not going to. So now we're going to take 2 rubber bands and you're going to twist them on your hook once. Then you're going to grab 2 more rubber bands, place them at the top of your hook, and slide this off and over. Then we're going to place it back on. And we're going to go to our 4th peg, one of our 4th pegs. And you're going to stick it back in. And all I did here was count over from my marker once. So it's on my 2nd peg there. And I'm going to stick my hook and grab these 2 from the bottom. You're going to pull your finger with it. And then you're going to place it back on like that. Then again, I'm going to count to my 2nd peg from my marker. And I'm going to place this on. So now if you count from here to here, it is 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs, which you would like to have. So what you want to do now is stick it back in, and you're going to go to this corner and this corner. So we're going to stick it back in, grab 2 more rubber bands, pull them through, place it back on, like that. And now we're going to go to this corner. Now we're going to stick it in this way. Grab 2 more, pull them through along with your finger, place it back on, and we're going to go to this corner. Now we want to fill in the rest of the pegs here. So we're going to go from here and here and then do these 2 pegs. So we're going to stick it in again and continue. So now, once you have finished this, we are ready to lay X's from this peg all the way back to our other peg, the pegs that we have marked. And for the ends, we are going to double X them. So I'm just going to take off my marker and remember where that was. So I'm going to twist it on my finger and make an X from here to here. Push it down. Then I'm going to take another rubber band, twist it on my finger, and make an X from here to here, and push that one down too. So now for the rest of them, until you get back to this side, we're just going to lay X's regularly, and you do not have to twist them now. So I'm going to take my marker off again. I'm going to take one rubber band, twist it on my finger, and make an X from here to here. Push that down. Then we're going to take another rubber band and do the same thing. And push it down. Now for the rest of these, we are just going to do X's from peg to peg all the way down, and on the ends we are going to double X it. So twist it on our finger, make an X from here to here, and then lay them normally until you get to the other side. So do not double these. And on this side, again, we are going to twist it on our finger and then layer X and push it down. Make sure everything is pushed down, and now we are ready to lay our first row. So we're going to just lay our rubber bands normally and do not push them down. So now for this part, I would recommend using a metal hook, and if you do not have one, I would recommend using a metal crochet hook because this may break your rain balloon plastic hook. And you want to be careful while doing this. So grab your bottom loops and bring them over. And I like to place my hook in downward and bring it over. And for these, all you want to count is make sure that you have 2 rubber bands at the top, and then grab the rest of them and bring them over the top. So make sure you have 2, grab the rest, and bring them over. So now we're going to push this down, and the rest of the rows from here on are going to be much easier because you don't have to bring all those rubber bands over the top. And now we're just going to lay our next row and go in a counterclockwise rotation, and do not push your rubber bands down. So now we're going to bring our bottom loops over the top, and each peg is going to have 2 rubber bands that you're just going to bring over. So just bring them over. So now push your loops down. So take your rubber bands and do another row. Lay them in a counterclockwise rotation and do not push them down. So now we're going to bring our bottom 2 loops over the top. So now you're just going to push these down. So we have just finished the bottom part of our cupcake and we are ready to start the frosting. And now for the frosting, all we're going to do is switch colors. We are doing the same exact thing. So you're going to lay your frosting color in a counterclockwise rotation. Then you're going to bring your bottom 2 loops over the top in a clockwise rotation and push them down as you go. So please make sure that you do 4 more rows of this and I'll be right back. As you can see, I did my 4 more rows of my icing color and I stayed on the same pegs, and I'm going to show you how you can get that rolled look for your icing. And so to do this, we are going to start by hooking this off, and we're actually going to start on this side, the place where we have 4 pegs instead of 3. And on this peg, as you can see, the top rubber band needs to be switched to the bottom because it needs to be hooked to the front. So to do this, we are going to take the top loop and put it on our finger. And then take the bottom loop and put it on our hook. Now we're going to take the loop that's on our finger and place it down. And then place the loop on our hook down. So now it will hook correctly. So we're going to start on this peg, take the bottom loop and bring it to the peg next to it. And that was my bottom loop because it hooked the loop behind it. And I'm going to do the same thing to this peg. Grab my bottom loop, bring it to the peg that's in front of it. And I'm so glad I made that change to the rubber bands because it hooked the loops behind it and the top loop was meant to be the bottom loop. So we're just going to continue this all the way around and check as you go to make sure you have grabbed your bottom loop. Now what you're going to do is stick your hook through both of those loops, grab a rubber band, place it on your hook, pull this through, place it back on, and pull one loop through the other. So now all I'm going to do is take off these 2 first and mark these 2 pegs. Then I'm going to start taking it off. And now on this end, I'm just going to take these 2 off and mark it. And then pull the rest off. So now you can just stretch this out and it starts to roll. This is the hardest part and it's for advanced and expert loomers. And what we are going to do is take the row in front of the brown and we're going to put it back on our loom. So we're going to take off our our marking band. And remember which peg it was on, the 4th one. And we're just going to grab 2 rubber bands from that row, any 2, you can start anywhere you want. And you're just going to put those on that 4th peg there. So now we are just going to go around and we're going to place 2 rubber bands on the pegs. And you're just going to grab them from the row, like that. And I'm staying in one row, make sure you don't grab any rubber bands from another row. And I just wanted to show you that if you see this opening here in the middle of them, this little space in the middle, it's a signal that you have done it right. So just check that you got the signal before you move on to the next one. Now, once you get to this peg, you're just going to take off your marking band and you're going to continue. So I'm going to grab 2 here, place it back on. Now you can turn your loom and continue. Okay, so now we are ready to start doing rows again. So make sure that they're all pushed down. And we're just going to take our rubber bands and go in a counterclockwise rotation and do not push them down. Now we're going to bring our bottom 2 loops over the top on all of our pegs, and we're just going to do the same thing. Just grab them over the top. It may look different, but it is the same thing. Now we're just going to push these down. And we're going to do 4 more rows of laying your rubber bands in a counterclockwise rotation. Then bring your bottom 2 loops over the top in a clockwise rotation and push them down as you go. So please do 4 more rows of this and I'll be right back. I just finished my 4 more rows of my frosting color, and now I have 5 rows in total. And we're going to hook this off so we can finish it. And on this peg, we need to take the top loop and switch it to the bottom, and take the bottom loop and switch it to the top. So we're going to take the top loop and put it on our finger. Then take the bottom loop, put it on your hook. Put the top loop back onto the peg and the bottom loop back on. So all I did was switch the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top. Now on this peg, we're going to grab our bottom loop and bring it to the peg next to it. And as you can see, that was my bottom loop because it hooked the loop behind it. And that's what you want to see on all of these. So make sure that when you hook it over, it hooks the loop behind it like this one. So just continue checking and make sure you're bringing your bottom loop over the top. So now on this peg, you're going to stick your hook in and grab 1 rubber band, pull this through, place it back on, and pull 1 loop through the other. And pull that tight. Now we're going to make a chain so that we can sew it up. And it's just a chain, and we use 2 rubber bands each time. And there are 10 loops here, or 20 rubber bands. So to do this, we're going to take 2 rubber bands. We're going to place them on our hook. Grab 2 more rubber bands. Pull these through. And place it back on. And pull these 2 loops through the other 2 loops. And you're going to pull that tight. And I just connected these 2 loops together. So now I'm going to take 2 more rubber bands, place them on my hook, pull them through, place it back on, and pull these 2 loops through the other 2 loops like that. So I just attached these to the chain. And you want to have a chain of 10 loops. I have mine already done. And it is also a total of 20 rubber bands. So now we are going to use this chain to sew up our cupcake. And we're going to stick our hook in the top on the slip knotted loops. Pull this up through it until you get to the second one on this end. And now for the rest of these, we're just going to stick our hook up and pull the chain down. And hold this side so that you don't pull it all the way through. So stick your hook up and pull the chain down. Stick the hook up and pull the chain down. So just continue this for the rest of them. So now we are just going to take the loops off that we have our chain on. So just take the last one off carefully. Then we're going to pull this gently so that you have more room on your chain for more rubber bands to go on. And we're just going to continue the process of sticking our hook up and pulling the chain down. Anytime you run out of room on your chain, you just need to take the rubber bands off the loom and then pull so that you have more room on your chain. Now you can just take this off your loom. And don't pull it tight yet because we are going to put stuffing inside of it. So you are just going to take your stuffing and place it inside. So now once you have enough stuffing in it, you can gently pull on your chain to close the top off. And then you can tie your 2 together. Now we are going to take our scissors and we're going to cut above where we looped it together so that you don't have rubber bands sticking out all over the place. And we're just going to stick these inside. So once your loops are in, if you want to do some sewing at the top to close it off finally, you can. So just stick your hook in across from it, pull that tight, and that's pretty much all you have to do at the top unless you want to do more, but I'm just going to stick my hook in somewhere in my cupcake and then stick it up through the top. Try not to push up any rubber bands. And I'm just going to take that loop and pull it inside. Then you can take your hook out and just let it go. Now you can fix your cupcake up and we are ready to attach a cherry. Now we are ready to make the cherry, and the cherry is completely optional. You do not have to make it. And to make it, you are going to take 2 red rubber bands, twist them on your hook once, like that. Then you're going to grab 2 more red rubber bands, slide these off, and then you're going to place it back on, like that. Then we're going to take 2 more red rubber bands, place them on your hook, and pull this through. And then place it back on. Now we're just going to fold it over and stick those rubber bands at the end all on our hook. We're going to grab one rubber band now. You're going to twist it on your hook 3 times. And now we're going to stretch it out. Pull these loops over. Then you're going to place it back on like that. And we're going to pull these 3 loops through the other 3 loops. Very carefully. Now you can take that off your hook. Make sure you pulled it tight enough that you can grab them again. And on your cupcake, we are just going to grab some rubber bands at the top. Just stick them through. And be careful to not pull any of the top rubber bands out. And if you do, you can always just place them back in. Then you're going to stick the 3 loops back on your hook. You're going to pull these through. And if you ever end up with a ton of other colors, you can just take them off. Like that. Now what we're going to do, since we have this pulled through, we're just going to stick our hook back in our cherry right in the center. And we're going to grab the 3, and with our fingers we're just going to bring them over the cherry. And you can let go with your hook. And your cherry's on. This is what they look like when they're done. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you make some, I'd love to see them. My Instagram is CraftLifeUSA, so please tag me in a photo. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, pin it on Pinterest, and subscribe right here on YouTube. I hope you learn a craft life just like me. Thanks for watching. Bye!